You know, guys, I've been around for a while with Sonic. I mean, I pretty much grew up with Sonic. I've watched him struggle heavily since he tried to make the transition with Sega into the 3D gameplay world. It did not work out for him. I mean, guys, at one point, it was Sonic versus Mario, and that's how it was. Genesis versus Nintendo, Super Nintendo, and it was like a battle royale between these two big juggernauts. And now Sonic has fallen from grace so far that he's pretty much become like an internet meme or an internet joke in this case. And it's been up to Sega for a while now to try to fix that. And you know what? I keep looking at Sonic Forces like consistently because they keep putting out content now for it. And I have to say, I really think Sonic Forces is just so crazy at this point. It just might work. So yeah, I've been with Sonic for a while. I mean, guys, I'm talking about like the first game on the Genesis. I mean, I was there on AOL on GameWinners.com looking up codes so that you could use the original Sonic on Sonic and Knuckles to play the bonus rounds in order. That was A, B, C, and start when you pop that in, because you usually say no way if it's not Sonic 2 and 3 and all that. I mean, guys, it's been a long time that I've been around Sonic, and ever since, like I said, they got to Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2, and then from there they go to Sonic on 2006 on the 360, and it fell apart so fast. But now that I'm looking at Sonic Forces, I'm telling you, there's something going on here with this game to where I think Sega is pretty much pulling out all the stops. They know this game needs to work. And this game has been in development for a while if you really look at it. I mean, people are talking about it being in development since 2013 when Sonic Lost Worlds was announced. I mean, it's been that long, and it really wasn't until June 2016 that we found out that there was this Sonic game, and it was called like Project Sonic 2017 and all the listings, because they didn't even have a final name yet to tell us. And I think when Sonic Forces was really shown off and there were two different Sonics to play as, I think most of us kind of looked at it and thought, well, maybe this is just a Sonic Generations sequel at this point. It follows the same formula with two different Sonics, one from the classic era, one from the modern era. In fact, they're called Classic Sonic and Modern Sonic, essentially, according to everyone online and everything. And that looks like Sonic Generations at face value. But according to the Sonic Generations team that's kind of working on it, it's not a sequel at all. In fact, they've pulled in the people from Sonic Colors and Sonic Generations to work on this, and they're trying to make it its own game, no sequel at all. They even designed its own engine, they call the Hedgehog Engine 2, and like I said, they brought in Classic Sonic and Modern Sonic. It's supposed to be a third character they still haven't announced yet. And from what we've heard, this original character is going to be at E3 to be shown off when they show off more of this game. And it's supposed to be, I assume, later on this year that we actually see this game come out and we can play it on PS4, Xbox One, Switch. So this is going to be interesting. And then today, they really top it off. And this is where I look at it and say, okay, you know what? They're just going crazy with this game. I mean, they're throwing everything at it. They're saying, you know what? If this game doesn't work, then let's be honest here, guys. Sonic is just not a 3D game. Fortunately, they are bringing out Sonic Mania as well, but that's a story for another day. So today, they tell us that there is going to be an editor for your character. So you can essentially go into the game and make your own character. And what does that sound like? It sounds like what's been happening with Sonic for the past decade online, where people are making their own fan iterations of Sonic characters, whether they look completely different with different color palettes or just in different build quality, build of the character, everything. I mean, they've gone so far as to do full fan fiction. I mean, the lore is insane for Sonic, and you know what? This is something that would pull in a lot of those people. So we saw the trailer. It shows us basically them making a character on the fly as the character runs the battlefield with both Sonics, Classic and Modern Sonic, and all along the way, they're pairing up different parts for their gloves and their boots and their different facial qualities, and then they start changing it out and they end up with like the speaker and the microphone and the glasses, and they run off and they basically fight a bunch of robots alongside the Sonics. And it really shows after that just how detailed they're trying to go with this. I thought when they started talking about this, especially when I first saw the trailer, I thought it was going to be like, you know, palette swaps, different changes of different colors. Maybe you want to be purple or green or something. No, it's going to go further than that. You're going to have things like gadgets, which are interesting, where they showed like a grappling hook off and a flamethrower. And really, you're going to be able to change the look, the height, overall, I assume, just everything about your character. So all of a sudden, we can kind of get in there and make a character that we want to play as rather than one that they want us to play as. Now, we still don't know the limitations of the character creation system. Maybe they just let us go crazy with it. Maybe they're like, hey, make whatever you want. Really, there's no, like, there's no cost to make your character. You know, in some games where you're making a character, there's like a meter that fills up, or I remember this was like wrestling games a while, or you had costs on your character depending on how much crazy stuff you throw on them, just because that's what the system could handle. It doesn't look to be that way, but we don't know until we play it ourselves, or how clunky it ends up being overall. Maybe, you know, I assume you're gonna need a lot of things like clipping and stuff's gonna happen if you have crazy stuff going on in your character. But really, at this point, this kind of reminds me, to be honest, of a way that Namco Bandai kind of fixed Dragon Ball, where that series was getting kind of stale going along with those games. You know, Dragon Ball Z kind of got out of the Tenkaichi and Budokai Tenkaichi series that was on the PS2, and then went to the Wii. After that, it started to kind of stale, and then they added this really robust character creation system, online play with Xenoverse, and all of a sudden, Dragon Ball Z got really interesting again from a video game standpoint. And as much as people are kind of making fun of it online right now because, oh, all of these people are going to like bombard this game and just make some of the zaniest and craziest characters you'll ever see, good. That's good, because this game does not look like a typical Sonic game all of a sudden. After this announcement today, this game has tons of possibilities, like endless possibilities. It's not going to be that standard linear game that we're running through and just beating like normal Sonic game. It's going to be a game that you can go back to, and it has replay value because maybe you want to change your characters. Maybe there's unlocks. Maybe you play through it so many times you get unlocks for, I don't know, different gadgets. We saw the grappling hook. Maybe there's like a jetpack or something. We just don't know at this point. And it looks like it's going to switch between 2D and 3D for your custom character as well, so you won't have to play as classic Sonic in one level and modern Sonic in the other. It looks like you just take your custom character through all the different areas. So I have to give Sega a lot of credit here. It looks like they are listening to their fans. Fans want to be able to make their own characters in games for the most part. I mean, if you go to any game, Dragon Ball was, like I said, a great example. Most people wanted to be a part of the game in some way, and when they find out that they can customize and make their own character, Xenoverse has done really well for them. And at this point, Sega knows that the whole Sonic thing is getting old, right? I mean, it's become a joke because of development of games. Games in general get laughed at. I mean, that's the popular thing online to do, is to make fun of Sonic at this point. And it was not that way. I promise you guys. A while ago, that was not the case. Sonic was a serious threat to Nintendo and Mario. And now, Mario just kind of, I mean, just steamrolled him when we got out of the 90s. I mean, Mario just rolled right past him. And it's a shame, but really looking at this, there is a chance that this could help revive the Sonic franchise, because now there's a ton of buzz around it. We're talking about something that we wouldn't have talked about if this character creation system was not there. We would have kind of looked at Sonic Forces and said, well, it looks like a standard Sonic game. It's something that maybe the fans will play through and then honestly forget about it as time goes on. But now there's this character creation system that is so new, so different from other Sonic games, that it's going to be hard to forget about it. I mean, this is going to be something that will at least make it different from any other Sonic game before it. And I really hope this works, because I have to be honest with you, I feel like they're looking at this as their last real stand with Sonic, because it costs money to make games, and if they keep making games that don't do well, you have to cut it somewhere. And unfortunately for Sonic, this might be it. This might be their last big budget type game. Otherwise, you might see mostly games like Sonic Mania come out for Sonic from here on out. Maybe like Sonic 4, which a lot of people didn't like. Well, I shouldn't say a lot of people. People liked it, some people didn't, but for the vast majority did not like that game because of the feel of it. And this is it. Like I said, this is their last 3D shot. So I look forward to seeing it at E3, just to see what the original character is. Hopefully it's not a character that you can just make in a custom design. Hopefully there's something unique about this character that adds to the story, maybe adds to the lore. And then of course you get in there, you make a custom character, and then the game is interesting. So I look forward to seeing what they can do with it. I hope it's not the exact same game that we've played with Sonic Adventure, any of the Sonic Generations, for example, just with a custom character mapped in. I hope they take some other chances here, because at this point, Sega, you need to get crazy with this game. I mean, you need to get just out of your mind with this game, just to make it different and make it interesting. Break away from the mold that you're so used to at this point. Let's do something crazy with Sonic here, okay? You have a great start here with the custom editor that you're adding for characters. Just come up with some original ideas. Like I said, just do it. There's nothing to lose at this point. What, is Sonic going to become even more of a joke? Probably not. I don't even know if that's possible. I mean, just some of the games you see people make, fan games, are insane, where you're like dating Sonic or you're beating up Sonic. It's gotten out of control, guys. And you know what, at this point, I miss the early 90s, because that was the Sonic I remember, and the Sonic I really liked. That's it for now, guys, though. I can't wait to E3 to see what this game kind of morphs into, and hopefully later on this fall, we can all buy it and play it and try it out. And of course, the option for the Switch is there, or PS4 and Xbox One. So looking forward to it, guys. I'll see you next time.